So, approaching the front of the Independence Palace, and now all my questions will soon be answered. What exactly was it? What happened to it on April 30th exactly? And what role did it play in the war? We're going to find out, because I honestly don't know. Amazing looking craft. You don't really get the full impression until you get right in front of them. And then you see just how much there's really nothing to them, just a pure needle shape for cutting through the air as easily as possible, right? Look at that. Oh, yeah, here's another angle on this room. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's just a level of luxury that I was not anticipating. The scale of these rooms and an opulence that I wasn't expecting in the furniture. From the perspective of a tourist attraction, is it worth coming here? My answer is slowly building up to a dramatic yes, absolutely. Just to see the building, not, as I mentioned, not just because of its role in history, but just to see the furniture. Look at that in this room. That is incredible. Beautiful furniture. Very unusual design. And then the artwork around the lighting. Everything about this is quite interesting. Well, there you go. Mystery solved. This is the Independence Palace, the place that I was thinking about visiting. There's the ticket office in there. Entrance over here. Let's take a quick look at it. Yeah, there you go. So I think my day is falling into place nicely. All right, we're inside. Got through the ticket booth. There are my tickets. You end up getting 2 tickets. One for $40,000, which I believe is for the Independence Palace, and one for $25,000, which gets you into that building over there. So it's total $65,000, which is about $250 US. And then you can also get an audio guide for $90,000. And I didn't go for the audio guide this time. They do have the audio guide in English. Here's a map to the area. Number 1 is the ticket booth. So I'm right inside there. Then you have the park with the fountain you can see on the right. And some fighter aircraft over there, number 3. And tanks, I'll go look at those first. Cafe. And then the buildings themselves. I didn't see a lot of rules. I didn't see any rules about how you have to put away your backpack or no cameras or anything like that. Oh, it does say that on number 3, no baggage allowed, but everybody seems to have a little knapsack. No animals, no weapons, etc. So that's it. Let's go take a look at the tanks and the F-5E fighter aircraft. Oh, it looks like they have, if you need it, 15,000 dong will get you an electric car tour. Yeah, I don't know how that works, but I guess that would take you throughout the entire park. Maybe the park extends out a lot farther than just than this place itself. And there it is. Independence Palace. And let's go take a look at the tanks and the fighter aircraft first. Lovely grounds. Look at that. Beautifully manicured. These bushes here. Overall, I've seen in Vietnam, my limited exposure so far shows a keen interest in gardening and making places as attractive as possible. The way that these bushes, these trees have been sculpted, for example. I saw this at a temple yesterday on the Mekong River Delta tour. with bonsai trees and other plants that had been cut to look really beautiful, fit in with the environment. And I continue to be so impressed with these parks, the size of the trees in particular. Look at those. Very special city, I have to say. It really is a very special place. Very impressed overall. All of my experiences here so far. Photo shoot. The shirt said "Walking Among Gods," but I don't know what that means. I assumed it was like a martial arts club or soccer, football club or something. Oh, this is interesting. By that I mean it has a Vietnamese star on it, because at the War Remnants Museum, of course, you see all American military gear. So I guess this would be from the Vietnamese side. I guess if I had the audio guide, I would know all about this. Maybe it would talk about it. But hopefully the sign tells you exactly what kind of tank it is. These tanks are identical to the armored vehicles from Tank Corps 203rd 2nd Army that made the famous breakthrough into the palace grounds through the Great Palace Gate on April 30th, 1975. Tank 390, a T-59 manufactured in China, and the T-54 was from the USSR. So this was a Chinese-made tank, and then this one, Russian-made, if I'm reading that correctly. Or maybe they were from somewhere else, but they were just supplied. This one's supplied by the Russians to aid the Viet Cong, the Viet Minh, and then this one supplied by the Chinese, perhaps. And as I was walking here, I noticed that the cafe was called April 30th. So it is commemorating this event, the famous breakthrough into the palace grounds on April 30th, 1975. So I guess we will learn more about the significance of that when we go into the palace. I was just about to leave the tanks and go into the palace, but the jet is over here. I've got to take a look at the fighter jets first and just go for a walk through the park. Gorgeous park, really nice. There it is behind me, the F-5E fighter jet. And people are posing for pictures, so I'm just staying out of their way until they get their pictures. Amazing looking craft. And you don't really get the full impression until you get right in front of them. And then you see just how much there's really nothing to them. Just a pure needle shape for cutting through the air as easily as possible, right? Look at that. So what did they say? So this particular jet, they actually know the history. On April 8th, this lieutenant secretly infiltrated the Southern Republic's Air Force and carried out a bombing raid on the palace in an aircraft like this one. Oh, so not this one in particular. F-5E is a reconstruction of the successor to the F-5A, the American fighter aircraft manufactured by the U.S. firm Northrop. Well, there you are. It is interesting that it is a Vietnamese, North Vietnamese fighting craft, and yet it has all the instructions here in English. So, approaching the front of the Independence Palace, and now all my questions will soon be answered. What exactly was it? What happened to it on April 30th exactly? And what role did it play in the war? We're going to find out, because I honestly don't know. I don't know any of these things yet. I don't know a single thing about it. Again, beautiful grounds. Have you seen a green lawn like that? When was the last time you ever saw anything like that? Just gorgeous, vibrant green. Very well cared for. And it looks like off right over there to the right is the audio guide. So had you paid for it, that's where you would pick it up. And again, I'm going to put my camera away just for a minute as I go through the front doors, just so I don't make people nervous. I've been reading the signs here for all the individual rooms, and I'm slowly getting the idea. Basically, this building was the residence of the first president of whatever the country was called at that time, the South Vietnamese portion, and remained the residence of the various presidents of Vietnam. And then, of course, after the American War and the North Vietnamese forces won, they actually broke through the front gates when they occupied Saigon. And then they took over the place. And rooms like this show that the government, the cabinet would meet in a room like this. So it was the residence of the president of Vietnam, but then government ministers would meet here as well. So the cabinet ministers would meet here. And there was a display at the beginning talking about the architectural design of it and associating it with all kinds of classic figures with symbolic meanings. This story is worth taking note of, the bombing of the palace. And this is a story that's connected with the fighter jet located outside when on April 8th, 75, this member of the Communist Party, Lieutenant Nguyen Thanh Trung, he had infiltrated the Southern Republic, and then he was a pilot, and he took control of this jet and actually dropped a couple of bombs on the palace, damaging the helipad on the roof and the central staircase. And it says that this feat undermined the Republic's authority and prompted the US president to order the evacuation of the last of the Americans still in Saigon. So it played quite an important role in the Americans leaving Vietnam at that time. It's quite an elaborate place, built on a grand scale, as you can tell from these staircases. And just from the grounds in general, I saw a tennis court, these wide lawn-like parks, and the size of the building. And then rooms like this one here. This is the conference room. And they say they had conferences in here for as many as 500 people. So yeah, everything is on quite a grand scale. And I think we can also go up to the second floor. The main stairway is not open, but I think there's a stairway over here. We can go up to the second floor. So that's where I'm heading next. I'm not on the second floor yet. I just had a thought about this place. I thought I'd record it before I forget. And just in terms of the design and architecture, especially when you're on the lowest floor, what I've noticed is everything is open to the outside. So this conference room has all these big doors that open right out onto the grassy areas. That area is open to the outside. And then this dining room where they have banquets, you honestly feel like you're still outside. It's not like an interior room. You have all those doors on the far side that open up onto the park with a nice breeze going across. And then on the opposite side, of course, you have all the exact same doors that open up to the outside world here. So in terms of the architecture, they're talking about all of the symbolic meanings of the shapes. But again, what I notice is this open air design, at least to the first floor. I don't know about the second floor. It looks a little bit more like a traditional building, but at least on the main floor, it's all very open to the outside, which is interesting. There is an elevator that takes you up here, but I went up the stairs instead, and oh, okay. Yeah, very much this open air feeling again. I notice they have these columns in the windows, which blocks some of the view and the air, but A lot of light comes in. And again, on that side of this room, I don't know what room it is, but obviously some sort of official. Someone can sit here, the president, I assume, and hold state, have meetings, and then you have the balcony on the other side. Very airy. Look at the high ceilings. Yeah, it's a very interesting building to tour through. Just even setting aside its historical importance, just to see it is really quite interesting. Very luxurious and on a large scale, which I don't know if you would see this in modern buildings, government buildings anymore. I don't think you'd see this sort of expansiveness in the architecture. They couldn't devote this much space, I don't think. Yeah, it just goes on. Look at this. Oh yeah, this is the main stairway leading from downstairs, but that's closed off. You have to take either the elevator or the stairs towards the side. And beautiful rug here in this lobby area. And yeah, let's go to the front balcony. We can see the park from up here. Oh yeah, here's another angle on this room. Look at that. Beautiful. Just a level of luxury that I was not anticipating. The scale of these rooms and an opulence that I wasn't expecting in the furniture. Again, I don't know how dramatic it was on April 30th, 75, when the North overran the place and broke through the gates. I don't know what was going on inside here. So here's some of the architecture. Situated in a 12-hectare park, the palace occupies 4,500 square meters of ground space, 26 meters high, 95 rooms. I like this idea. It has its combination of concrete and wooden embellishments without any curved roof design makes the structure at once distinctly modern and in tune with ancient Vietnamese architectural design. So I certainly agree with the idea of a modern design. It does with the square shapes. He says there's no curved roof. I didn't think of it that way, but I definitely noticed that everything is in right angles. Everything is squared off, and that gives it a distinctly modern feeling. But I don't know why that would be, as they say there, ancient Vietnamese design. I don't know what the connection is there. I'll come back and read this in a minute. Let's step outside and take a look at the front park. Gorgeous, really nice. Matches the building in terms of the spaciousness. So this is a copy of what I read down below, and it basically gives the history of the building. It was declared a national site in '76, special national site in 2009. And it was first opened to the public in 1990. So this palace occupies the site of the former residence of the French colonial governor general, and it was completed in 1871. So the original building was on this site, but was completed in 1871. But after the '54 Geneva Accords, that old structure was renamed Independence Palace, and it became the residence of the first president of the new Saigon Republic, which is essentially South Vietnam. After a bomb attack on February 27, 1962, the president commissioned a Vietnamese architect to design a completely new structure. So I guess the old one was torn down, or maybe it still exists somewhere else. It took 4 years to complete, and then the various presidents lived here. And then on April 30th, 1975, liberation forces entered the palace grounds and raised the flag of liberation for the first time from its rooftop. The liberation of the South had been achieved. So I guess it has a great deal of symbolic importance in that the flag of North Vietnam, which became modern Vietnam, was raised here after, and this was the home of the president. This was the seat of authority for the government of the South. And when they surrendered and the flag was raised here, I guess that signaled the official end of the war. And look at that. And as I noted there, the architect himself was Vietnamese. And I'm guessing that these columns represent bamboo. That would be my guess. Yeah, very modern structure. And to me, it has sort of a 1960s feeling, at least in the furniture. And I get the impression that there really wasn't a lot of fighting, that the forces from the north basically came through the front gate and just took the place over. I have a feeling if the place was defended, there would be photographs of destruction and rebuilding, and maybe the furniture would be new. But all of this looks like original furniture from when the building was designed. So I don't think any fighting took place here. From the perspective of a tourist attraction, is it worth coming here? My answer is slowly building up to a dramatic yes, absolutely. Just to see the building, not, as I mentioned, not just because of its role in history, but just to see the furniture. Look at that in this room. That is incredible. Beautiful furniture. Very unusual design. And then the artwork around the lighting. Everything about this is quite interesting. I keep expecting to come across areas where I'm not allowed to be and someone yelling at me and telling me to get out. And there's this area here at the back, has a sign over the door that says private apartments. So I wasn't sure if I was allowed to come back here or not, but the door is wide open. But I guess what they mean is that this is where visitors to the official residence could stay. So this was a residential area for visitors, private apartments. But it is part of the museum, part of the place that is open to the public. And that's why they call it private apartments. And they have some artwork here on the walls. And a nice little garden in the middle. And very nicely landscaped dining rooms over there. Probably an attached set of kitchens and a bedroom. So if you were lucky enough or important enough to be visiting the president of Vietnam, this is where you would be staying. A place like this. Very nice. Classic wardrobe. One thing I'd really like to see is the helipad. So I don't know if we can go up any higher. This is the second floor, but I don't know if it's possible to go any higher because I would like to go onto the roof. That would be really nice to see the neighborhood from high up and even see the helipad up there. But I have a feeling that this is as far as we can go. If I can find a stairwell, I'll head up in that direction. But yeah, here's another view through the bamboo out into the park area. Again, you get a very nice breeze running through. None of this is air conditioned or sealed, but you don't really need air conditioning just because you get such a nice breeze through the building. And the high ceilings. It's keeping everything nice and cool. Well, I have to say nice and cool for Vietnam. I'm still sweating to death. But that's just how it is here. All these things are relative. Oh, right down there, that's the tennis court that I mentioned. is also part of the palace grounds. I guess it's the name Independence Palace that has been sort of mixing me up a little bit in understanding this place, because I associate the word palace with royalty, that this would be the home of the king, but this was not the home of a royal family. This was the home of the government, the leader of the governments, and yet it is called Independence Palace in English. Maybe that's a mistranslation from the Vietnamese, and maybe the Vietnamese word is a little bit more appropriate to a president or prime minister or someone like that, and not necessarily like palace may not be the exact right word. At the end of the hallway, I see another sign for stairs heading up. So maybe we can go to an upper floor. Oh, look at that. Yay. I was expecting it to be roped off. So let's see where this leads. Okay, that is not open to the public. But we can go even higher. Ah, very exciting. Third floor. Man, this place is huge. In terms of the affairs of state, they're very well set up here. This is the First Lady's reception room. I guess down on the first floor, all the rooms there were the president's reception rooms. And then on the second floor, all those rooms were for the vice president, I just read. And up here on the third floor, we find dining areas and reception rooms for the president's wife. And on the description here, it says that the lamps in the shape of flowers give the room a sense of peace and charm. The decor features distinctive pairing of two contrasting motifs: the three porcelain figures representing the traditional gods of happiness, prosperity, and longevity, and an abstract fresco in modern Cubist style. So let's see if we can pick up on any of that. So there would be the three gods, and on one side of the room, very small figures there, and on the other side is the Cubist painting. Okay, I get that. But they're also supposed to be, oh, maybe the lamps are in the shape of flowers? What did it say about flowers? Ah, yes, I didn't pick up on that. The lamps are in the shape of flowers, and I do see that. Huh. I think I need people to point these things out to me. I wouldn't pick up on these little details on my own. But again, what I pick up on is the open airiness of it, which I really enjoy. And the memory card on my GoPro filled up, so I went over here to take apart my GoPro and put in a new memory card. And as I was here carefully doing that, I looked out the window and yeah, the helipad, the escape. So I guess they surrendered to the forces, but if they were fleeing from them, they would have all come up here to the roof and gotten away by a helicopter. Though, to be honest, I don't know exactly what happened on that day when they broke through the front gates, whether there was an armed resistance at all. I'm getting the impression that there wasn't really any resistance. But anyway, can we go out there to look at the helipad itself, get close to that helicopter? We'll find out in a second. Doesn't look like it. Everything here, yeah, looks closed. So you can see it, but it doesn't look like you can actually go out there. Which is too bad. It'd be nice to look over the walls, look at the grounds from this high. But yeah, it's very dramatic. To me, that's always been the ultimate in power. Any building that has a helipad on the roof. And if you're rich enough or powerful enough to command your own helicopter for coming and going. You're at the top of the pyramid as far as power and wealth goes, right? Helicopters have always struck me as the ultimate for that. Of course, in the modern world, in reality, it's probably private jets. All celebrities these days seem to have their own giant private jets. But somehow I'm less impressed with those than I am if someone tells me they have their own private helicopter to take them to work. That would be awesome. Sir, your helicopter's here. I'd be very excited about that. The highlight for me continues to be the furniture. Check out this room. What a delight from the point of view of the decor. And it hardly looks used at all. It all looks to be in extremely good condition. Check out that. It must have been some kind of a bar, a rounded barrel shape. All 50s and 60s style decor. Almost a sunken living room set there. It's not sunken, but it kind of gives that impression. But again, look at the decor. Gaming table over there. The lamp on the wall, that round circle with the orange bulb. Very cool stuff. And then look at the ceiling. This architect was really onto something for his time period. Maybe it's just my brain, but again, if I look at this, it looks like such a movie set. And it looks like on the other side, there's snooker tables, grand pianos. So we have to head over there next. And speaking of movies and TV shows, it looks like a performing arts center. Look, they may even have a screen up there. Could have been a projector up here in the top. That looks like a projector's room, right? Yeah, for sure. So this looks like a mini theater, and they could also have performances, of course, singing and plays or speeches up here on the stage. And I just heard someone saying that you can go up on the roof and look down on the helicopter and the helipad. So I'm very excited about that. I'm going to go check that out next. The tour continues with the library. Nice. Look at this room. Not a large library as far as libraries go, but what a desk. So I assume this was sort of a private library for the president. He could come sit at that desk and summon whatever book he needed to refer to. But again, just the architecture and the style is stunning. The gaming area that I mentioned. Again, everything looks almost untouched for a snooker table or whatever game was played here. I would expect it to be more worn, but the green, the velvet is in perfect condition. The piano over here looks to be in perfect condition. No wear on it at all. Wonder what explains that. Why would the furniture be so perfect? And yeah, another look at this room. Look at these rocking chairs. They are spectacular. I love those so much. It's my favorite room for sure. The wood. I guess that was in the architectural description that I read, combining wood with cement, wood, and angular shapes. Creates a very unusual effect. And again, we've got the wide open balcony on both sides so that the air can flow right through and come out here. And I just saw another set of stairs going up right here, and it doesn't appear to be roped off. So yeah, hopefully we can look down on the. Oh, okay, it was a projection room. Yeah, I was pretty sure that's what it was for that gallery down below. That is awesome. They still have the old projectors here, exactly as they were. Can you imagine the heat that these things used to put off? I've got my little GoPro, and it's constantly shutting down by overheating, and it has the tiniest little sensor in there. These guys with their light bulbs, they would put off so much heat. There's a room to be like a furnace up here. But nice. That is so cool. Talk about vintage. It does make me wonder whether movies have been shot in this building. I guess it would be very difficult to get permission. But man, if you had a certain type of movie in mind, imagine what you could do with this setting. What kind of a movie you could shoot in here. It'd be extraordinary. The rooftop. Amazing. So we can go outside. This place is just getting better and better. And then we can see the front garden with the fountain. SAIGON in the background. The tanks down below. Can't see the jet. It's over there behind the trees. And I assume on the other side we're going to look down over the helicopter. Imagine if I wanted to go back to the Adenia Hotel right now. It was an emergency, and I could summon this helicopter to drop me off. That would be the way to live. Look at that. There's in that big red circle there. It tells the story about how at 8:30 in the morning on April the 9th, 1975, the first lieutenant pilot, Nguyen Thanh Trung, flew his F-5E and dropped 2 bombs at the target here. So this is where he dropped his bombs. And I don't get the impression that it created a great deal of damage, but symbolically, it was like a crippling blow to the remains of the South and the American will to keep fighting here. At least that's how they're telling the story. And on the roof, look at that, cold drinks. Even a beer available. I think I'll get a cold drink in a second. Perhaps sum up my experience of this place. A gift shop, souvenir shop. And then the rooftop on the other side. And you get to a view in the other direction into Saigon. The financial tower over there. Another view of the helicopter. Escape helicopter that was probably never used for escape. Green lawn, massive sprinkler. Oh, it'd be so nice to go down there, run around in that sprinkler. And I'm not sure what's over here. Look down on this side. More of the park. Oh, that's right. There's a whole other building here. I forgot about that, down in this direction. So I guess I'll get a cold drink now and then relax a little bit. And then I'll go down there, explore that other building. And that will be the end of my visit. Yeah, it's a lovely spot up here. Really nice. And the drink, I got a Coke from over there in the corner. It was ice cold right out of the freezer. The prices are posted and they're all accurate prices. It's just, I don't know. I'm just constantly surprised at how pleasant everything is here as a casual visitor, as a tourist to Ho Chi Minh City. Just such an easygoing place, friendly people, big smiles. Everything is organized. Everything is pleasant. I'm constantly being pleasantly surprised. And over here, there was an interesting signboard. This was something I was looking for. It was a little bit of the history of the day when the liberation forces entered. So at least here's one photograph of a lieutenant and his comrades on April 30th, 1975, when they drove their tank right up to the doors of the palace. But more interesting was this plaque here, which talks about how the architect, this man here, he designed this space where I am now to face in 4 different directions as a calm place to reflect on what to do to determine the country's future. And then it says that the president turned it into a party room with a dance floor for 100 guests and a hardwood dance floor over here. And I don't know if I'm reading that correctly, but it sounds like they're taking a little dig at the president from that time, that maybe he was a bit of a dilettante, a bit of a playboy, that he took this space meant for meditation on the future of the country and turned it into what they call a party room. So yeah, it's probably what they were doing there. And but yeah, I think this is the top floor and the end of the tour of the main Independence Palace. Enjoyed that thoroughly. So now it's time to head down to the ground floor and visit the other building. I'm outside the main, I'm out behind the main building now. I think maybe this is the rear side of the building, I'm not sure. I'm looking for the other building. Not quite sure where it is, but on my way out, I was trying to find the exit. It's quite a large building, as you can see. A lot of hallways, a lot of stairways, and I found myself in brand new parts of the building I hadn't come across on my first walkthrough. Things like the vice president's office. I found a shooting gallery in the basement where you can practice your marksmanship, and a documentaries film room, a couple of luxury cars that used to belong to the president, a children's center, all kinds of things. So there was a lot more in the building than I actually took video of, and I took a lot of video already. But yeah, here's the back side of the building. Impressive, to put it mildly. And it was a lot cooler inside the building than it is out here, just because of the way it was designed, with the airflow all the way through the building. So, Independence Palace, exhibition, restaurant, and cafe. I think what I'm looking for is the other building, which is the exhibition building, though I'm not positive about that. All I know is I saw a second building, and I have a ticket that grants me entrance to a second building, so I might as well go there. Very nice cafe, look at that. April 30th, the day they liberated the palace. Beautiful cafe. Wow. And I think this might be the other building. Perhaps it's some kind of a rotating exhibition, not always the same gallery exhibit, but we'll find out when we get there. So here it is, the exhibition. The second ticket gains you entrance here. It says, from Norodom Palace to Independence Palace. So what I was reading before was that there was originally the home of the French Governor General, and then a new building was built, the Independence Palace. So maybe it's either the original residence of the French Governor General, or it's a museum dedicated to that period of time. It's a Norodom Palace. I guess that's the name of the palace for the French resident general. Or it's more like the residence, we would say in English, not so much palace. But I think I have to present my second ticket, so let's go in and take a look around. Another very pleasant surprise. This is a very engaging place, fascinating. So I'm a little bit confused about it, but I don't think this building is the original. No, I know it isn't. At first I thought this was the Norodom Palace itself, but it isn't. It's just another building. But out there in the hallway, it tells the story.
You can take photo.
Okay. I'm just leaving from that exhibit now, as I found out, and I kind of suspected, to be honest. I went inside and I started taking some video and talking about what I was seeing, but the woman at reception tracked me down and told me that no video was allowed in there either. So I took a little bit of video with my cell phone. She seemed to indicate that I can't use the GoPro, but I could do whatever I wanted with my phone. So I thought, okay, I'll take some pictures, and then I shot a little bit of video with my phone. That seemed absolutely fine. You just can't actually use a GoPro to take video, but you can use your phone to take video. Anyway, that's what I did. Very interesting exhibit. A lot about the palace itself. I learned a lot more about it, the original palace as built by the French, and then the first prime minister, then president of Vietnam. I have a lot of trouble with the names and the pronunciation, but it's like Norodom, the very first president. He faced a lot of opposition in his time, a lot of coup attempts, struggles with pirates, all kinds, like criminal cartels, all kinds of struggles like that. And during one coup attempt, the original palace was bombed and badly damaged. And that's when he decided to simply abandon that one, the one that had been built by the French, which looked distinctly French. Beautiful building, very ornate. And then he decided to commission the new building, the Independence Palace, with a Vietnamese architect, and then replaced the old French palace. So it tells the entire history of that. And there's a whole exhibit up on the second floor, mainly talking about the No Dun Dien regime, his rule, and then all the coup attempts, and then he was eventually assassinated while in office. And a lot of stories about the way he ruled the South Vietnam and how he stayed in power. Fascinating thing. It was like a bewildering array of names, though. I had to go through it 3 full times and read every single thing 3 separate times before I even got a vague idea of who they were talking about. But what I found the most interesting thing about him that I didn't know was that he maintained his rule in large part because he used family. He had 4 brothers, and each of his brothers had kind of a stronghold in one region of southern Vietnam. And then he built a very elaborate security apparatus and procedures and programs to control the local people. And he did that with the help of family connections, using his 4 brothers. So it was like a family dynasty in a way, which the local people eventually concluded was more like a family dictatorship rather than a democracy. And he was eventually overthrown in a coup. But yeah, it was a great deal. And there were a lot of audio-visual presentations on the ground floor about the cultural history of Saigon, about street peddlers, for example, about the Nguyen Hue walking street, which I didn't know. It originally was a canal. It was a canal that brought water from the river into a series of moats. And then that canal was eventually filled in, and it became the walking street that it is today. So you could sit down there, put on headphones, and listen to all of these. But I could not take any video of any of that. I just shot a little bit of video looking around quickly with my smartphone, but that's all I managed to do. But yeah, very interesting. Well worth visiting. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And I'm here at the April 30th Cafe. I think this might be a good place to end my day's small adventures. So I'm going to pop in here, perhaps grab a cold beer, sit down, and this will, rather than extending the video all the way back to my walk back to my hotel, I've done that walk several times already on video, I think. Hello. So I think, yeah, this looks so beautiful right here. I thought I'd pop in here for a cold or hot drink. And I guess I will conclude my video in here. Let's see how that goes. A perfect spot to end my visit to the Independence Palace, in the cafe of the Independence Palace, the April 30th Cafe. I tried to get an avocado smoothie. They had that on the menu, but they said they were all out of avocado, so I got a strawberry smoothie instead. And they seem to have some kind of a banh mi or something on the menu, But it turned out the banh mi was really just a croissant. So I thought, well, that's not really what I want. But right beside it on the menu, they had a hamburger. So I went for one of those. And yeah, I think the shake was like 70,000 dong, and the hamburger was 75,000 maybe, and 50,000 for the hamburger. But well, let's try the. I was going to go to the Kong Cafe where I went with Rod the other day. I was so in love with his coconut coffee smoothie. I wanted to go there to get one, but I thought, well, since I'm here on the palace grounds, the Independence Palace, and they have their own cafe, let's come here instead. Very nice. There's the label for this place. This is where I am. And the burger looks pretty nice too for a place like this. Yeah, looks great. Tomato, lettuce, cheese, burger. Very, very good. You'd almost think I was on vacation these days with all the pleasures of yesterday with the boat tour in the Mekong River Delta. Beautiful burger, strawberry smoothie here. So, beautiful garden. I love these chairs. Really interesting design to the chairs here. Yeah, really like this place a lot. I don't know if I showed it on video or not, but this is where I'm sitting, right beside the whole garden, the grounds. And these are the chairs that I'm talking about. Very much like garden, fancy garden chairs. And then there's the interior of the cafe. Can't get any nicer than this, can you? So it feels like rain is on its way, so I'm not going to hang out here very long. I'm going to have my burger and my smoothie, and then I'm going to start walking back to my hotel. Hopefully I miss the rain. It's on its way, I can feel it. So that's it, my visit to the Independence Palace. I'm very glad I made the effort to come here. It was a complete accident because my friend suggested I meet him for coffee right here, and it happened to be right beside this place, so it made perfect sense to check it out. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you're coming to Saigon yourself someday, I hope my video gave you a little bit of an idea of what you can expect if you come here. And I hope I gave the idea that it is worth visiting, because it very much is. I enjoyed this quite a bit. All right, that's it. Planet Doug shutting down for now. And I'll see you in the next video.